Greetings, Starfighter. You have been recruited by the Star League to defend the frontier against Sur and the Kodan Armada. Get ready. Prepare for blast off.
Your fortress of solitude.
Greetings, program.
Glad you're alive.
Your sanctum sanctorum.
Resistance is futile.
Welcome.
This your first triumph. This is where the fun begins.
Proof positive that geeks have inherited the earth.
It's showtime.
It's time to Get Your Geek On
You complete me.
with Dave Gramillion.
Oh, yes. Welcome here. I am Dave Gramillion, and this is Get Your Geek On, powered by Southtown Games on Pleasanton Road near Loop 410 on the south side of San Antonio, where your gaming family wants to welcome you. Here we will talk Star Wars, Star Trek, DC, Marvel, video gaming, really all things geek that have dominated this little world of ours. You see, geek is not what it was 20 or 30 years ago. Geek is in. Geek is very in. Geek is now the mainstream, and we are here to talk the very latest and greatest that is geek right here on 9:30 a.m. The Answer Talk Radio and 9:30 a.m. TheAnswer.com. This is Season 2, Episode number 13, and tonight we have a guest here in studio with us. We have Pete from Southtown Games, who is here to talk about a very interesting little giveaway that we have going on, as well as a gaming fundraiser. We are still reeling from Hurricane Harvey, even as Hurricane Irma takes its aim on the Florida coast. And we'll be talking about how many stores are involved and what you can do to help out Hurricane Harvey victims. Star Wars decided to break the internet once again, and unfortunately it was not with a trailer like I was expecting, but instead they decided to fire their director for Episode 9, and I'm going to tell you why everybody wants you to think this is a big deal, but it's not a big deal. It's really not a big deal, but the internet wants you to think that it is. The box office slump continues. This is officially the worst Labor Day of the 21st century. Think about that for a minute. I mean, it sounds a little weird when you say it out loud like that, but we're 17 years into the 21st century now. And this was the worst one that we've had. We'll talk about that for a little bit as well. We have some Marvel news. Goose is going to report on the Inhumans debut on IMAX. We'll talk about that and why it really wasn't that stellar as far as the box office goes, but we'll talk about that for a little bit. And then after that, I want to talk about the X-Men Trilogy. Speaking of Marvel and mutants and mutation and superheroes, you remember back around the turn of the century when X-Men had a trilogy of movies? Why is it nobody remembers these things? When you talk about superhero movies, the X-Men Trilogy really is not up there in that epic pantheon of movies. We'll talk about that as well. But first, I got to make sure that I have everything that I need in order to run the premier talk radio show for geeks in the United States. And first, I like to have something to drink, because if you're going to talk for 52 minutes and 20 seconds, by golly, you better have something to drink. Oh, yes, that's some good stuff right there. I also like to keep a back scratcher handy with me, because although people can't see it on the air, there's always that one spot in the middle of your back you can't get. I kid you not, this thing woke me up at 2 o'clock in the morning. Something just really itched my back. I have my back scratcher right there, so I'm good to go. That's covered. And I also like to keep with me, let's face it, if you're going to have a geeky talk show on radio, you better have a lightsaber. So I've got my Hasbro All Blue right here with me. Outstanding. All right, so that covers that. I also want to make sure that I'm wearing something geeky as well, and I do have my Star Wars Rebel Alliance hat on right there. And for those of y'all who are wondering why I'm describing what I'm wearing, it's because we actually do a Facebook Live chat with each and every broadcast that we do. Hello. You can find that live at facebook.com/GYGO official. Now, of course, I could not do this as well as I do without the people here in studio with me. If you look to my left, your right, across the radio dial, you will see the founder, the Grand Poobah, the Grand Admiral of the Star Wars Society of San Antonio. He is our minion, Peter Gonzalez.
Tonight. Good. How's it going? Good evening, everybody. Greetings and salutations.
Alrighty, and minion, what are you rocking there?
I'm wearing my old Rebel Legion polo shirt. So back when I was a proud member of the Rebel Legion.
Excellent. All right. And if you look further to my left, your right, across the radio dial, you will see our man, the myth, the legend, the sound prognosticator, spinning the ones and zeros. He is Goose.
Hello.
Goose, what are you rocking there?
Well, I did go see Inhumans,
in IMAX earlier this week, and so I am sporting a Marvel T-shirt because I actually have some nice things to say about Marvel,
What?
which doesn't always happen on this show.
What?
So
Oh, wow. Okay, then.
It's gonna snow.
it is.
Before we introduce our guest here in studio from Southtown Games, I do want to take a quick minute out to talk about Hurricane Irma. As if Mother Nature wasn't mad enough already for whatever reason, we're still reeling from the effects of Hurricane Harvey. Hurricane Irma decided to smack around the Eastern Caribbean and has now set its sights on Florida. I'm telling you, man, Texas is sending every possible prayer it can your way. We know what hurricanes are like now, and we feel for y'all. Especially one of our listeners is Luis Rodriguez. He is out in Florida as well. Hope that if you haven't gotten out of there already, man, then we hope that you batten down the hatches because this is going to be a doozy of a storm.
Yeah, but a friend of mine who's in Puerto Rico right now, it just passed him right now. He has no power, but he's safe.
But he's all right.
Yes.
Okay. Whew, that's good news. That's some good news. Okay, and we also want to get into one other little bit of, just minor news, really. I mean, it's hardly even worth mentioning that the NFL is back. That's right, the NFL is back. The Patriots and the Chiefs played on Thursday. The Dallas Cowboys will play coming up here this weekend, and nobody else really matters.
Yeah.
It's San Antonio. I mean, I know the Texans tried. If they gotten Johnny Manziel, I bet they could have flipped the state, but no. Instead, they decided not to, and instead, it's Dallas Cowboys country down here. So that's always good news. And we're not even talking about college football. Nobody in Texas had a good week starting out college football.
Texas and A&M
No,
just blew it.
we're not talking about it.
Man.
We're not talking about it.
I had a buddy of mine watching the game all through San
terrible.
Japan, and he was just depressed.
Oh,
just
my God.
depressed the entire time.
Alrighty, so with that being said, let's go ahead and let's formally introduce our guest. He is Pete. He is from Southtown Games, and he is here to talk to us about quite the interesting fundraiser coming up. All right, people,
Yeah,
welcome
awesome.
to the studio.
Never got an audio intro before. That's amazing.
Well, you must not have been on many radio shows. I mean, this is how we roll.
I did it for a semester.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for SAC.
At SAC?
Yeah, KSYM. I
Oh,
did it for a
very
semester.
nice.
It was fun.
All right. Well, we like to welcome our guests in style here, so that's
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming in here into the studio. So, what is this gaming fundraiser that I've heard so much about?
So this gaming fundraiser is a collection of the different game groups here in San Antonio, partnered with some of the stores to help out with some of the donations, like price support and things like that, to help victims of the Hurricane Harvey. All our proceeds are going to be going directly to the San Antonio Food Bank. And from there, they'll help disperse all the different things that we're bringing in. So for monetary, food or clothing or whatever, we're just giving it to them, and they'll disperse it.
Yeah. Are you recommending that people bring in like canned goods, or are y'all just taking anything?
Anything.
Okay.
Because I mean, any right now, any little bit helps. Because I know that their shelves got cleaned out. So
Yeah.
I mean, we need to help. Get them back up to their their quotas for standard.
Now, how long is this going on?
It'll be a one-day event. It's Saturday, September 16th, at St. Joseph's Hall, 420 East Cesar Chavez. It's downtown.
Downtown, okay.
Yeah, it's Cesar Chavez and Alamo, just one block south of that, I believe.
Very cool. Now, how big of an effort is this? I mean, how many stores are we talking about that are involved?
I want to say just about every game store in San Antonio that we've supported and stuff in the past.
Every one of them.
So Night Watch Games,
Alien Worlds,
Dragon's Lair, Southtown Games, and then just individuals also that are in the community also chipping in real big by donating full armies to be raffled off.
Wow.
Yeah, no, we have a fantastic community here in San Antonio that is very unique to San Antonio because everyone gets along.
Now, you mentioned that raffle. Have you heard what type of items we can look forward to?
The three big ones is going to be one full sized Eldar army painted and donated by Frankel Cults. A big Ultramarines army, 30K Ultramarines army donated by Golar's 222nd.
Wow.
That's one of the gaming groups here. And then an Age of Sigma army. I don't remember the gentleman's name, but Stormcast Eternals.
And these are all Warhammer games for people watching.
Yes,
and listening.
Warhammer, and then Age of Sigmar. It's the Warhammer universe, but ogres and spellcasting and stuff.
Sure. Yeah, the more medieval fantasy side of it all.
Where Warhammer 40K is set 40,000 years into the future.
So you mentioned Frank Wacholtz.
Yes.
I actually went to college with him, and I remember when he first started getting to Warhammer.
Oh,
Painting stuff
really?
Back in the late 90s and early 2000s.
He is an amazing person.
He's a great guy.
He is a saint. We miss him
I
dearly.
met him in, actually, we started Howard Payne together in 96.
Wow.
So I've known him for 20 years.
Wow.
Now, I've posted some pictures of Warhammer setups. I mean, when people really get their full armies out. I mean, these are impressive pieces.
Oh, no, yeah, they're amazing. Because, I mean, you can fully customize everything, and you paint it how you want to. So you can be super detailed, take, hours upon hours upon hours just painting one figure.
And there are thousands of pieces.
Yeah.
I mean, in some cases. I mean, I know, like, just the base set will be 100 or so pieces, but you can...
It depends on the army. Some armies are more elite. Some are more, like, horde type armies. So you can have an orc player have a 30-man unit, or, you're going to have, like a Grey Knight unit only be, like, 5.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And they'll equally be, like, effective on the battlefield.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So how is Southtown Games involved in all this?
They're helping us give away this raffle today. The Talons of the Emperor box set comes with Custodes, Land Raider, Razorback, and a Contemptor Dreadnought. They're offering up this price support so we can help get the word out a little bit further than our Facebook groups and stuff, to maybe like a little bit wider audience.
So down at the hall, next Saturday, the 16th.
Yes.
And you said, I'm sorry, what time was it?
It's going to be
all day?
it's an all-day thing. If you want to play in the events, there's 3 different events going on. There's a Warhammer 40K 2 versus 2 tournament, 1,000 points apiece. There's also going to be a 30K narrative event going on alongside. And then there's also an Age of Sigmar event going on as well. So all 3 events are going to be concurrently going on at the same time.
And the games that will be played, is it only Warhammer 40K and Age of Sigmar, or are there other games that you can come down and play as well?
There's also Blood Bowl. Blood Bowl is like a football-based chess game, but it's set in the Warhammer fantasy realm. So you'll have guys... like when they block, they actually like trying to kill the other guy, and you can actually kill them, and they'll be off the pitch.
Wow.
Yeah, and that'll be in the bar area over there at St. Joseph's Hall.
Okay, all right. There's a Calvin Johnson joke in there somewhere about you just knock him right off the field or whatever, because he hadn't come back since. So I'm just saying. Yeah. What about for people that can't get down to the hall? Is there like an online donation? Can they help out in some other ways?
I think right now we're still working on the online donations. I do believe that there's you can purchase tickets through the Golar's gaming page. I'm not an admin to that, so I don't know how that's being handled. So
okay, but we can probably keep an eye on the Southtown Games Facebook page.
I'm sure,
and that'll help out there
I'm
as well.
sure.
Okay, all right. So we have this beautiful piece right up here, the Warhammer 40K Gathering Storm Talons of the Emperor set.
Yes.
How many pieces are we looking at here for this one?
5, 10, 11, 12, 13. About 14 pieces. If you turn it around to the camera, it'll show everything that's inside.
Oh yeah, here we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that way they can see it there. I mean, these pieces are so intricate and so detailed. I love these things.
Yeah, and then this is one of the more elite armies. These guys are real tough. They're the Emperor's bodyguards.
Oh well, then yeah, they would have to be.
Yeah. They're the Emperor's bodyguards. Yeah.
Very cool. Very outstanding, and we'll be giving that away here at the end of the show. For those of y'all who are listening to the show either on our podcast, you can find it, which you can find on iTunes. Or if you're catching it after Thursday, the giveaway has sadly already ended. But we do have other giveaways that'll be coming up, so you can always keep an eye on the Facebook page for that. So, I mean, have you known anyone that was personally affected by Hurricane Harvey?
We have lots of San Antonio and Houston and Corpus are very close as far as like their player base. So we travel to Houston, we travel to Corpus to go play in their events and vice versa. So I mean, throughout the year, we'll see him a good 6-7 times. So we'll hang out and go eat dinner afterward, and we've become friends over the past couple of years.
So this is home for you as well, a little bit, yeah.
Oh yeah. So I mean, we have guys over there that are still without power, still like having to trudge through like at least a foot of water to get places and stuff.
All right. So Saturday, September 16th, down. You said it was 455 on Cesar Chavez.
420. 420 East Cesar Chavez.
There it is.
Registration for the events is at 9 a.m. Games will start at like around 10, and
Outstanding.
it'll go till about 7 p.m.
That's really awesome, and proceeds will go to benefit the San Antonio Food Bank. Pete, thanks for coming in, man. We do appreciate you taking the time out here.
Thank you.
Before we get to the break, we have a few minutes here. I want to go ahead and talk about the news that has really shattered the internet, and that is some Star Wars news.
I'm looking forward to completing your training. In time, you will call me a master.
All right, leave it to Star Wars to break the internet with all of its news, no matter how trivial it is or how major it is. If it's Star Wars, everyone's talking about it. Colin Trevor, I think it's Trevorrow is how the name is pronounced. He has left the Episode 9 project, or depending on who you listen to, he was fired. Again, sounds a little familiar. Phil Lord and Chris Miller were either they left or they were fired from the Han Solo project that happened earlier in the summer. Now, he's citing creative differences. That basically means he didn't get along with anybody involved in the project. Now, it's funny because so far that's the third director fired from a Star Wars project in probably only about 2 or 3 months. You got to wonder if Kathleen Kennedy is actually the issue, because the 2 directors for Han Solo said that they couldn't get along with Kathleen Kennedy. Colin is saying the same thing. Now,
To be fair, those other 2 directors wanted to make Han Solo a comedy movie.
yes, they kind of like that.
I'm going to make it a buddy
Copper-
movie. And
Yeah,
it's like,
buddy
no,
Copper
it
chain.
just won't work.
Yeah,
So
so
the concern they did 21 Jump Street before.
well, but at the same time, they were hired. I mean, they had to go through a process to get the gig in the first place. So
Right.
Kathleen must have seen something in them.
Eeny, meeny, miny.
Pretty much.
So, but Kathleen Kennedy, for those of you who aren't aware, if there was a blockbuster in the past 30 years, her name's attached to it. I mean, you could throw out, really, right now, any serious sci-fi or fantasy or adventure movie, and if Spielberg or Lucas are attached to it, then so is Kathleen Kennedy. Jurassic Park, E.T., Indiana Jones.
Not Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, though.
That one didn't happen.
That one
Shia
did not
LaBeouf is
happen.
back for
Yes.
Indy
Oh,
5. Thank
good.
God.
Well, you didn't like him swinging around in the trees?
No.
No, it would have been much better if he would have fallen off into some quicksand or something.
Now, let me tell you something. This is actually not a big deal. They're still writing the script for Episode 9. They kind of know what direction to go in, but Colin had submitted several scripts, and each one of them was rejected. So there's no script. This is not at all what happened with the Han Solo movie. The Han Solo movie, they had to bring in Ron Howard to finish up, reshoots, because they'd already finished principal shooting when they fired the directors.
They're still filming now, if I'm not mistaken.
They're doing,
right?
reshoots now.
Yeah.
Trying to wrap that up. But Episode 9 doesn't come out until 2019. They haven't shot anything for it yet.
They probably have to do some rewrites because, from my understanding, Leia was supposed to have a big part in this next one.
What, Episode 8?
And
Which is perfectly
yeah.
fine because she was alive during that time.
Right, for
That's
Episode
true.
9. I
But
mean,
Episode 9, there's no script, though. So there's
Right.
no rewrite. There's nothing. Whoever comes in will have a fresh slate to work with. They will have carte blanche to do what they want with Episode 9. So this really is not that big a deal. It's not like they're in the middle of shooting. They're only a month away from wrapping, and then they fire the director. It's not like that at all. They don't have location scouted. They don't have a budget. They don't have a script. They don't have anything set up, except, of course, the actors who will be involved.
yeah, they're just gearing up right now for Last Jedi because Force Friday was last weekend.
Yeah.
So all the merchandising, get your porgs if you can.
And it's all Episode 8.
Right, get all that stuff in.
So this is not that big a deal.
Not really.
It's much ado about nothing at this point. And let's face it, I mean, I'm just going to lay it out there like it is. Colin only got the gig because of Jurassic World. If you look up his IMDb account, he really hasn't done much else than Jurassic World.
It's a good movie.
Well, it is a good movie.
great
Don't get me wrong, it's a great movie,
it is,
but
but that's it. That's all he has to his name. So we may have actually dodged a bullet here. I'm just saying it's not as big a deal as people are making it out. Some people are making it out to be like, that's it, it's all over. The trilogy will collapse. It's not even. It's
No,
not even that.
not even.
Let's keep calm in Star Wars, people. But here's the big question: is so now who comes in?
Well, there's one petition out there saying,
No.
let's bring in
No.
Lucas. I'm like, no.
No, in fact, I believe.
Thank you for
Hang
playing,
on.
George. Don't call us, we'll call you.
I believe we have an exclusive quote from it was Ryan Johnson or J.J. Abrams. I forget one of the two.
Well-
we have an exclusive sound clip of them.
good God in heaven, Ruby, there are just so very many ways for me to say this to you. Never, not in a million years, absolutely not. No way, Jose, no chance, Lance, and yet, negatory, nah, and of course my own personal favorite of all time, man falling off of a cliff. No!
Yeah, not going to happen. No, we're not bringing Lucas back.
Dr. Cox?
It's not going to happen. We're not bringing Lucas back.
Don't call us George. We'll call you. Thanks for coming up with it. We'll take it from here.
But Minion, but without Lucas, there would be no Star Wars.
Shut up, you nerd. Get out of here.
but without George Lucas,
Didn't I throw you in a locker back in high school?
Hold on. You're saying without Lucas, there'd be no Jar Jar Binks?
Damn. But there would be no Darth Vader. So you have to show him respect.
No,
Really?
I'm going to show you the back of my hand. Nerd. Get out of here.
I saw a little comparison between Star Wars Episode 4 and a Valerian graphic novel.
Ooh, yeah, just a little bit.
Ouch.
Now look, there were 6 Star Wars movies that George Lucas was involved in. Guess how many he directed? One. He only directed one of the Star Wars movies until you get to the prequels.
Right.
He didn't direct 5. He didn't direct 6.
And I think we're all better off for it.
I think so too. But he did go off to do Strange Magic and Red Tails.
Hey, Red Tails wasn't bad.
I wanted to see that one. I haven't seen that.
Red Tails was actually pretty good. He didn't direct it. He produced
Oh,
it.
he produced it. That's right. But
Yeah,
he did
produced it.
direct Strange Magic though.
I didn't. And
Yeah,
hey,
that
let's
was-
not forget Howard the Duck.
And Howard the Duck.
Right.
So
Hold on. Lucas directed Howard the Duck? That was
No,
Spielberg.
he was involved in it.
I was about to say, that was Spielberg.
No, that was Zemeckis or someone.
I think it was Zemeckis who did
Yeah.
that one. Now, speaking of Zemeckis, he's actually kind of in the running here. A lot of people are speculating as to who it would be. I would be okay with Zemeckis. I would be okay with having Rian Johnson keep going with the story for a little consistency.
Well, if it's Robert Zemeckis, they just make sure not to get the Falcon up to 88 miles an hour.
Hey-oh.
Who did Rogue One? That was
Gareth Edwards.
I wouldn't mind him. He
I
didn't
would-
Bring JJ back.
There we go. Let's bring JJ back. Clearly, we don't have enough lens flares already, so let's go ahead and-
Sure, why not?
Exactly.
I mean, if we're gonna go out there, hey,
we
I
need more
wouldn't mind.
Dutch angles. That's what we need.
Or I wouldn't mind, no, not Tim Burton. Anybody with Tim Burton, but
I am actually
Only
not.
if he brings Michael Keaton with him.
hey, I'm Batman.
I am actually not on board with Steven Spielberg doing Episode 9.
Why not?
I think he would be good in a standalone movie where he could really put his own touches on it. I think that by the time you get to Episode 9, you're finishing up someone else's story.
Yeah.
And I don't think Spielberg will be comfortable with that. I think there will be such a difference in seeing Episode 9 in the Spielbergian way versus what we've already seen in 7 and 8 that it would stand out. I think people will be like, yep, that's a Spielberg movie. No question. We got it.
Giant boulders chasing after the heroes.
Or cute kids.
Yeah.
Or, I mean...
Something going over the moon,
I think he would do a great standalone movie. I honestly wouldn't mind. We actually tried this as a prank once. We announced that he was going to be doing a Droids standalone movie.
Wow.
And that was April Fool's that we tried to pull that one off. And that didn't fly. But I actually think he could pull that off. A Steven Spielberg Droids movie.
Yeah, who else? Yeah, no one else can. So
I could totally see that. But
would General Grievous make a comeback?
sure, if he could sing and dance. A little dance number.
He's got extra arms.
Yeah, that would work. I could see that. A Steven Spielberg movie, Droids,
The
starring General
musical.
Grievous. Droids the musical.
You got 3 canes and 3 top hats.
Yes.
Or 4 maracas.
There you go.
Hey, I like where this is going.
Yeah,
why
buddy.
not? And, Hispanic Heritage Month is coming as it is.
We never knew General Grievous' first name. Maybe it's Jose.
Yep.
I think it was Ricky.
Ricky Grievous.
Ricky Grievous. Why not?
What is he, Cuban?
Okay, I can start seeing Cuban
Grievous,
Pete
I
here.
want to be in the big
We
show.
can do Cuban Pete here. Since we have a Pete motif, we have a Pete motif going on right now.
Lord.
So-
Here we go.
Can't have too many.
and-
All right, so just to kind of recap here, for those of y'all that are just joining us, the Episode 9 director was fired or left the project, depending on who you talk to. He was fired. He's just trying to make it look good, and it's not really a big deal.
They tell him go out for pizza and they just lock the door on him. You're not coming back.
Pretty much.
That's not funny.
They sent him out for a pack of cigarettes, and he just never came back.
Right.
He went out for lottery tickets, never came back. The media.
It's all fun and games until your parents move and forget to tell you the address.
Hey, there you go.
Did that happen to you, Goose?
Not going to go there.
The media wants you to think this is a big deal, and there are so many articles written about the panic and, oh my God, the trilogy's falling apart. And so many people are just dancing, saying, oh, yeah, Disney, this is what you get. It's not that bad.
No, let's go gas up now while we can.
Gas up. That's right, get your gas now. Before it all...
Everywhere.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, last week's show was almost get your gasoline on, but...
It was close. It was close there for a little bit. It's really not that big a deal. For my money, I wouldn't mind Robert Zemeckis, but I actually want Rian Johnson to keep on going. Now, of course, I'm saying this before I've even seen The Last Jedi. If the movie sucks, then no, I don't want Rian Johnson involved in the project. I want him far away from it. Oh, goodness. All right, so coming up after the bottom of the hour news break, we're going to talk about the worst Labor Day since 2000 for the box office. We have some Marvel news, including a Goose report coming up, and we'll talk about the X-Men Trilogy coming up right here on 9:30 a.m. The Answer Talk Radio and 9:30 a.m. TheAnswer.com. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Marina Sirtis, and you're listening to Get Your Geek On 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Welcome back from the bottom of the hour news break. This is Get Your Geek On 9:30 a.m. The Answer Talk Radio, powered by Southtown Games on Pleasanton Road near Loop 410 on the south side of San Antonio, where your gaming family wants to welcome you. I am Dave Gramillion, and if you missed the first half of the show, we talked about an upcoming fundraiser event, which you can go downtown San Antonio to game for the San Antonio Food Bank and Hurricane Harvey victims. We also talked about some big-time Star Wars news. Colin Trevorrow has left Episode 9, or he was more than likely fired from it, and it's not a big deal. We talked about all that in the first half, and you can hear it all on our archive, which you can find at iTunes. We are on the iTunes Podcast Network. Look for Get Your Geek On with Dave Gramillion, or you can find us on SoundCloud.com as well. Download the app, and you can catch the show anywhere. Alrighty, so with that being said, without further ado, I want to talk real quick about a box office slump that is, this is one for the record books. The summer was just terrible, but Labor Day was even worse. And I also want to tell you about our friends over at Laser Legend. Laser Legend on the north side of San Antonio, off of Lookout Road and 1604, not too far from I-35. Some great party rooms, a terrific 2-floor laser tag arena, indoor miniature golf, and a 4,000 square foot arcade. You want to check out our friends over at Laser Legend. This is officially the worst Labor Day weekend since 2000. In all of the 21st century, this is the worst Labor Day weekend. Almost no giant movies came out, which is amazing. Imagine what Valerian would have done if they come out this weekend instead of going up against Dunkirk and Spider-Man Homecoming.
Right.
This would have been a perfect weekend for them to come out, but oh well. The summer is down 18% from the summer of last year. Almost 20% down. It's like 18.7%. It's not something crazy like that. What about the fall? All right, well, the fall of 2015 was down 16% from 2014.
Okay.
The fall of 2016 was down another 14%. So the fall of 2016 compared to 2014 down a total of 30%. The fall has not done well for movies so far, but thankfully we do have It coming out. It is highly anticipated. It is number 1 on Fandango for their most anticipated movies.
That's interesting.
People they can't wait for it to come out. And we do also have the Justice League movie coming out in November.
Thor.
And we have Thor coming out as well. So hopefully there will be a little bit of redemption. But here's the thing, is that the box office is down almost $4 billion from this time last year, and they only have 3 real huge blockbusters left. It will make some money. Don't get me wrong, but it's not going to make Justice League, Star Wars, or Thor Ragnarok money.
No. I'm looking forward to American Assassin. It's not necessarily geeky, but it's...
That's the Michael Keaton one, right? Yep, that's supposed to be pretty good, too.
Vince Flynn novel.
That's right. So I was perusing through whatculture.com, and they wrote an article that said the 14 dumbest things in the movies this summer.
Okay.
I'm not going to read all.
Only 14?
I'm not going to read all 14 because
Good
you know
Lord.
we have kind of a time crunch here. But so here are some of the 14 dumbest things that just killed this summer for the box office. A transformer disguised as a clock killed Hitler.
Why not?
Okay.
That
not?
actually happened in the Bayformer movie.
There's a reason why I didn't go see that movie.
That's just terrible. The Mummy actually spent more time trying to kick off a Dark Universe franchise than actually being the Mummy.
Right.
That is the number one criticism for that film, other than Tom Cruise had no chemistry. But, yeah.
Well, it's Tom Cruise.
Yeah, it's Tom Cruise. So that didn't work out. Another criticism was Dane DeHaan killed Valerian. He was not an action hero, and he had no chemistry with his leading lady, Cara
Delevingne?
She's really hot, so we'll just kind of
okay.
we'll just call her Cara.
Okay.
But I didn't mind him that much, but I do see the criticism.
Still haven't seen it yet.
He was not the best action star they could have gotten. He was pretty snarky, pretty arrogant, but not an action hero. Not what you think of.
Okay, then.
The entire Emoji Movie.
Yeah, I never saw that.
Yeah, I just saw the trailer for that and like passed.
It looked like the whole movie was one of the characters in the movie, if you know what I mean.
I know. A brand new female lead in the 5th Pirates of the Caribbean movie, and of course she just has to be related to someone. She can't be her own character. She has to be the daughter of a certain somebody. I don't want to get into spoilers.
So would you say the Pirates has jumped the shark?
You could say that.
Yeah.
It jumped the Kraken. That's for sure. Oh my God. And everyone knew that a King Arthur movie would flop. We're sick of Robin Hood movies and King Arthur movies. We're sick of them. And yet somebody dropped a $175 million production budget for King Arthur. And it only made $146 million worldwide.
Wow.
Whoa.
Worldwide.
And you figure when you take distribution and marketing costs, that double that number in the budget.
A giant bomb of epic proportions.
It was like the little emoji thing that we were talking about earlier.
Another one of the dumbest things that happened in the summer movies.
Yes.
Nothing in Prometheus matters now. Alien Covenant killed off the main character from Prometheus. That was Dr. Elizabeth Shaw, and they did it off screen.
Well, that's just stupid.
They did it off screen. And then, of course, I like this one. What Culture says one of the dumbest things this summer, the script for The Dark Tower. They said you had this terrific cast, terrific lineup, and the script was just awful. They were just not impressed at all.
The books were pretty good, but I'm just not a big Stephen King fan myself.
Yeah, I don't think Stephen King translates that well to the big screen for whatever reason. The trailer looked promising, but it just didn't work out. So with that being said, let's go ahead and let's move on to some Marvel news here, shall we?
This is that sequel to the smash hit with no equal. This one's for the true fans with Hulk hands and action figures. Flying, dining, saving you all in the city. Got masks on and weapons out. You won't like the Hulk when he's angry. I'm too hot, Hulk swear.
Alrighty.
Suit and said, I am Iron Man's on top.
This segment is brought to you by our friends over at Pro Defense Pest Control, locally owned and operated here in San Antonio. I was actually using them even before I had a radio show. I've believed in them then, I believe in them now, and with San Antonio starting to dry out, I think you should start believing in them too. Call them today for a free termite estimate. Free, F-R-E-E, free.
Free estimate.
And don't forget,
that's not
skeeters
bad.
are out there too.
Oh, yeah, the skeeters are going to start picking up too. Nasty stuff. All right, so we have an exclusive Goose report. We have the Inhumans debut in IMAX. Goose, what'd you think?
Well, actually, I thought it was pretty good. I haven't had fun with the Marvel comics in over 10 years, but I do enjoy the movies, do enjoy Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I know that puts me in the minority around here, but the Inhumans pilot was actually pretty good from a perspective of it being a pilot. Of course, the last time I remember pilots being shown in movie theaters was Buck Rogers and Battlestar Galactica. So this was a big deal. It didn't go so well from a box office standpoint. There were like 5 people in the movie theater when I went Tuesday night. This was a limited 1-week run because of it coming out soon. But I got to see Black Bolt emote. In the comics, you don't get to see that too much, but in the screen, in this, it did. I heard a lot of complaints about the costuming, but considering the society in which the Inhumans lived, who knows how long they'd been on the moon, it was actually pretty well. The acting was good. Yes, the fight scenes were not great, but this is a show that's finding its legs. And when it comes to a pilot, there are only a few things a pilot has to do well. One, did you get to know the characters and the universe they live in? Yes. Do you get some sense of the concept of the show and the concept of the story moving forward? Yes. Do you start to connect with the characters and learn a little bit more about their inner conflicts and their past and their motives and everything? Yes. And most of all, does it leave you wanting more of what you just saw? Yes. When it came to the end of that and they went dark and went to credits, I'm like, but I want more. And that will come starting September 29th on ABC, and there will be footage shown starting September 29th that was not shown in IMAX movie theaters.
All right, now, here's some movies that have come out this year. I mean, it's not really fair to compare this to actual movies, but we're going to anyway, so there. Dunkirk, 93% Rotten Tomatoes. Logan Lucky, 92% Rotten Tomatoes. Spider-Man Homecoming, 92% Rotten Tomatoes. Girls Trip, 89% Rotten Tomatoes. Inhumans. Minion, take a wild guess what Inhumans got in Rotten Tomatoes.
130.
130%.
I'm guessing.
You would be wrong.
I guess so.
By 130%.
Hey.
It got a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes.
You don't think it was a DC movie at that point?
I don't even think it's like worse than a DC movie. It's like Geely.
Now that's bad.
As far as Rotten Tomatoes goes, I mean, I'm not kidding, 0%, and it got 53% from the audience score.
Like I said, I think that's unfair, and I think a lot of the reason behind that is it's an IMAX movie, so it's going to be more expensive. My ticket was $15 to see a television pilot on the biggest screen available. Here's the cool part. You know how sometimes you go see an IMAX movie and it's shrunk to regular aspect ratio with certain scenes going up? No. This was IMAX the entire way, and IMAX actually paid for it.
Now, this was released in 390 theaters in North America. It made $1.5 million. The 40th anniversary of Close Encounters came out same weekend. It made $2.6 million. To be fair, Close Encounters it's awesome.
It's a classic.
It's incredible.
And tomorrow, Fathom Events is showing Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, 35th Anniversary Director's Cut.
Road trip.
I'm so there.
All right.
I'm so there. Now, box office analyst Jeff Box of Exhibitor Relations says that this is a pretty ho-hum result. Quote, I don't think the average moviegoer knew what this was. And if they did, certainly didn't know it was debuting in theaters before its TV debut.
No.
So I have to admit, I'm kind of the same way. Now, I have cut the cord, so I don't watch cable TV anymore. But when I was in Dragon Con last week and I was chilling in my hotel room, I didn't see one advertisement. Not one. And I was watching ESPN at times.
Well, to be fair, how I found out about it was actually us here at the show, us talking about it.
Well, it makes sense.
Yeah, it really does.
We break all sorts of geeky news.
But I don't think a lot of the criticism that has been thrown its way is fair. But
it's possible. Now, sources have told The Hollywood Reporter that the 8-episode series was produced over 3 months in Hawaii.
Yeah, that was the great thing. They picked Hawaii for the Earth setting, and so you have these grand helicopter shots, or maybe they're drone shots, but these grand sweeping shots of Hawaii, which was really fun.
Now, among the number of reshoots that they did was an estimated $100,000 to fix the visual effects for the wig worn by Medusa.
Yes, and I can see that the wig worn by Medusa was actually pretty well done until there's stuff that happened. No spoilers here.
Right. Now, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which, like Inhumans, is produced by Marvel and ABC Studios, has undergone some serious budget cuts in order to reduce overall costs. Season 4 for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. averaged a 1.7 rating among adults 18 to 49, with a total of 4.6 million viewers, including those. They're now keeping metrics. They call them 7-day DVR.
Yeah.
People that keep something for 7 days on their DVR.
Yeah, Life plus 7 is the metric.
There we go. Now, all right, so what's up next? All right, so Inhumans is one of multiple new Marvel series coming to the small screen. I'm starting to wonder if it's too much for the small screen, but let's get into this. So next up, after Inhumans comes out, and that is at the end of this month, end of September, next up is Fox's X-Men will be taking on The Gifted. That comes out October 2nd. That'll be followed by Hulu's adaptation of The Runaways on November 21st. And still to be scheduled is Cloak and Dagger and New Warriors, but that'll be sometime in 2018. And FX, you knew this was coming, is going to be doing an animated Deadpool.
Woohoo! Chimichangas.
And this comes on the heels of the Netflix dramas, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Defenders, and now The Punisher. And let's not forget about Legion coming to FX. What is that, like a dozen Marvel series that I just rattle off?
Yes.
Wow.
That's a lot of Marvel series.
Well, to be fair, The Gifted is not part of the MCU.
True.
Cloak and Dagger probably will be. New Warriors probably will be. Runaways probably will be.
That's still a lot of Marvel
I
series.
don't know. Runaways, I think that might be X-Men. I'm not entirely sure, honestly.
All right, so let's look at this list here. We all have our show notes here. Which one do you think will not even last 2 seasons?
New Warriors.
Yeah, I don't think New Warriors will last 2 seasons. I don't think Cloak and Dagger will last 2 seasons.
Possibly not, because it's a lot of people don't know about New Warriors or Cloak and Dagger, unless you're like hardcore comic fan.
Yeah.
And you better have some really good actors and actresses in order to make it fly. But I don't think it's going to happen.
But even then, Runaways is more kind of down in the depths than New Warriors or Cloak and Dagger.
True. Alrighty, so with that being said, speaking of mutants and Marvel and X-Men and whatnot, I want to talk about the X-Men Trilogy of movies. This is our little discussion segment. It's brought to you by our friends over at Southtown Games on the south side of San Antonio. All of us have been there. All of us love it. Not just for their products, for their accessories.
Photon torpedoes.
Wait, photon torpedoes?
That's Southtown?
No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of something else. Sorry, my bad. I'm sorry. I'm hungry.
not quite photon torpedoes, but
All right.
if you need accessories, if you need paint, if you need dice, if you need cards, you can find that at Southtown Games. What you'll also find is a very friendly, courteous, and knowledgeable staff. It's like the anti-big box store where you walk in, you're like, I don't know much about this game. What can you tell me? And the guy just like reads it off the box to you. Yeah, I mean, that happens all the time. But you walk in, and within a few minutes, how you doing? You looking for a new game? You want to sit down and play this one with me? Let's see what this is like. These guys are fantastic, and I strongly recommend heading down to Southtown Games on the south side of San Antonio off of Pleasanton Road near Loop 410. All right, so you remember, let's take the Wayback Machine here, and I can't believe I'm saying way back, but it was the turn of the century when we got our first X-Men movie back in 2000. But you ever notice these things are kind of unmemorable? When we think comic book movies, what's the earliest one that pops into my head is the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Blade.
Okay.
Iron Man.
You can go back to Blade. You can go to Iron Man 2008.
Of course.
Spider-Man for me, I think was 2002. I think was the first one.
2002, but then you had, of course, Christopher Reeve Superman and
But I'm talking modern era. When you think of the first movie in the modern era, I'm talking 2000 and beyond.
Okay, then Blade came out in like 97.
97, 98, somewhere around there. Yeah. So the first movie that comes into my head is the Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
You said Iron Man. Why is it nobody ever thinks X-Men?
Well, to be fair, Days of Future Past did away with all but the first one.
Well, to be fair, yes, but we also went to go see it, though. Remember how excited we all were because you have Patrick Stewart as Xavier, and that was perfect.
Oh, that was great.
No one else could pull it off.
You had Hugh Jackman debuting as Wolverine, nailed it.
Right.
Famke Jensen as Jean Grey.
Nailed it.
Halle Berry as Storm.
Kind of nailed it.
But she just didn't have
Ian
anything
McKellen
to do.
as Magneto.
Nailed it. Who was it that played Cyclops?
Oh, I forgot the guy's name.
Summers?
James Masters.
James Masters. That was
something like that.
I don't think he
nailed
gets
it.
any credit.
I mean, he was great.
Yeah.
The only thing I didn't like their casting for Rogue.
Anna Paquin.
Yeah, she was too young and not Southern enough for me.
Yeah, because Rogue is such a very flirtatious character, and
not only that, but she has that Southern charm, Southern wit, and of course they gave her all the powers in the movie she had in the cartoon show, except for strength, invulnerability, and flight.
Well, to be fair, though, she got those from Miss Marvel back in the day, and
right.
They hadn't met Miss Marvel yet, and they weren't going to, come to find out.
Yeah, sadly enough. So the first one came out in 2000. It's a 7.4 on IMDb, 81% Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah. In all fairness, I mean, the movies in the first couple were good. I think they just put too much emphasis on Wolverine. Granted, he's a more popular character, but there are other X-Men that are out there.
Kind of like DC and Batman.
Right. But there's other characters, Aquaman, but but there are other mutants that are out there. I mean, we're still waiting on a Gambit movie.
Oh, we're not going to get that.
Yeah, I know, but still,
So the first one comes out, and everybody likes the movie, but I don't know that they loved the movie. This trilogy is what I would call adequate. That's it. It's a B. You're not going to remember a B you got on a term paper.
Oh, yes, we do.
If that's the highest grade you ever got, yes, you will.
Well, hey, look.
For some of my students, that was the highest grade.
Look, we're not talking about Zack Snyder's work here.
Hey.
Come on now. Ooh. So the next one that comes up is X2 X-Men United. 7.5, 86%.
Again, they focus on Wolverine way too much.
Way too much.
And because Storm had nothing to do, and Halle is a great actress, and she's a great character, and Storm's a great character.
And they killed Cyclops off screen.
No, that was in 3.
Yeah.
Was it 3?
Oh,
you're right. You're right. Okay, then we'll get to that later. But again, this one was just kind of,
Mm-hmm.
It was good. I'll watch it if it comes on FX or something.
Yeah,
but,
there's like nothing else on.
Yeah, but I own the X-Men trilogy on Blu-ray, and I can't remember the last time I opened up these movies.
To be fair, several years ago, I bought the entire set up to that point, which included the Wolverine. So everything up to. I have not unwrapped a single bit of that yet.
Yeah. See, this is my point. It's almost like we overlooked these movies.
And I think that's because it has X-Men Origins Wolverine in it, and just no.
All right, so then it wraps up with the whoops. The swing and a miss, X-Men The Last Stand, took a nosedive, 57% Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay, so 2 things with that. One, Bryan Singer did not come back. Instead, he went to go make Superman Returns.
Womp, womp.
And he took James What's-His-Face with him.
Womp, womp.
So that's why they killed off Cyclops at the beginning. Because he was there looking for Jean after the crash that happened in X2. Phoenix Force made its presence known and killed him.
Right.
And then the movie itself just,
again, way too much Wolverine.
Too much Wolverine, too much Magneto also at this point. It just never panned out. It just never panned out. It did not meet any expectations at all.
Not at all.
All right, so get this. So the ratings for X-Men 1 and 2, would you be surprised if I told you that the ratings were higher on Rotten Tomatoes than the first Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire?
Not at all.
Would you be surprised if I told you they were higher than the first Captain America?
No
yes,
way.
I would, actually.
Would you be surprised if I told you they were higher than the first Thor movie?
Well, not really.
Well, they are.
Really?
They are rated higher than Captain America 1, Thor 1, Spider-Man 1.
To be fair, there wasn't a whole lot to compare it to at the time.
And maybe that's a problem. But you would think then, so now they get all the attention because there's no other competition out there.
Well, I think everybody kind of forgot about them because also stuff that was coming out around that time. Yeah, the Matrix movies that were coming out. You still had Star Wars that was out. The prequels were out.
You had Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, and I think they were just kind of got lost in the shuffle and people kind of forgot.
And then you had Terminator 3 and Salvation.
Let's not get into that.
All right, so Rogue I think was miscast, and I think a lot of us keep in mind this comes on the heels of the X-Men cartoon. Okay, and I think a lot of us when we went to go see the X-Men movie, we were expecting this. I mean, that show was so awesome. It was one of the greatest animated shows I've ever seen.
Next to Batman animated series, but let's move on. But those two were definitely up there on.
So we
were
expecting the early to mid '90s
action-packed,
Jim Lee done X-Men
yellow spandex.
That's when
Wolverine.
the X-Men bomb. Right, that's when the X-Men bubble was at its peak.
And
was in the '90s.
What did we get instead? Sadly enough, we got this. Yay. Whoop-de-doo. I mean,
I'm gonna get some popcorn now.
Just adequate. That's it. And of course, let's not forget my favorite line out of the whole thing. I mean, the one that just made you, everybody in the audience kind of did the whole puppy dog thing and turned their head sideways and went, huh? When they heard this.
What happens to a toad when it's struck by lightning?
What happens?
The same thing that happens to everything else.
Uh-huh. Gee,
no,
that's
Darth Maul again.
Wow, that was
It was
epic.
the same guy, wasn't it?
Ray Park.
Ray
Park, yeah.
So I'm not saying these are awful movies. In fact, they're not. But when we think of epic superhero movies, nobody remembers the X-Men. Now, until you get to Days of Future Past, I'm talking strictly about the trilogy that started it all.
First Class was actually very good.
Yeah. It was.
And then that's First Class, then Days of Future Past, Apocalypse, and now we're
Apocalypse
about to
wasn't bad. I thought it was good.
And then we're going to get to Dark Phoenix here.
Yeah.
But people remember that trilogy. They don't remember the one that started it all in 2000.
Right.
It's weird because they're so highly rated, but they're so unmemorable. How do you think they'd hold up today?
If it were redone.
No. I mean, these same 3 movies released today.
I think obviously the first one. Obviously,
the first one holds up.
Yeah.
Well.
Okay.
It's a more well-rounded ensemble piece.
Right.
Versus when you get to X2 and especially the X3, it's all focused on Logan.
You know what's kind of weird is that this is the same universe as Spider-Man, and yet Spider-Man gets ticker tape parades, Fantastic Four gets ticker tape parades, but the X-Men are shunned and hunted and have legislation against them. I mean, really, what's the difference between a mutant and Spider-Man?
Well, technically, Spider-Man is technically
technically because he wasn't born with it.
Well, he mutated.
But
into
still,
one,
I mean, they have superpowers.
Have you not seen those episodes?
Yeah,
of the animated
I
series?
saw that one. Yeah, let's pop that in right now after the show. But no, but I don't know. I mean, it kind of maybe it's the whole thing about kind of like we had kind of discussed amongst ourselves at one point. Why do people just not like mutants? I think it's.
I also don't think you can call them X-Men today. I think that would be. I think the social justice warriors would come out. Yeah, the X-persons, X-humans maybe.
Or they would be defending them as X-mutants or something.
All right, so that'll wrap it up for us here. If you do want to tweet at us, you can find us at GYGO_official. Shoot me an email at davethehost@getyourgeekon.org. For Goose, for Minion, and for myself, I want to thank our sponsors, Southtown Games, Laser Legend, the Mailing Spots. Thanks for listening, everyone. Don't forget Pro Defense Pest Control. Be excellent to each other, and be sure to get your geek on every single day.